The PlayStation 4 Pro marks a new era for console gaming and for the industry as a whole. It marks the beginning of an era where new console hardware iterations will happen in an incremental manner, similar to what Apple does with its devices, because we all know you love that so much. But whether Sony will release an updated Pro version of the PS4 Pro is something that remains to be seen. With the upcoming arrival of Xbox Scorpio, the industry as a whole seems to be moving towards an incremental hardware model. The PlayStation 4 Pro has been out for more than a week now, and we've been spending a lot of time playing games on it and testing whether those games show any signs of improvements in visual fidelity and performance. We'll get back to that in a bit, but the PS4 Pro at this point in time is the most powerful video game console ever made. Its 8 Jaguar-based CPU cores present an improvement of around 30% with clock speeds improved from 1.6 GHz to 2.1 GHz, along with memory increments from 176 GB per second to 218 GB per second. However, the biggest boost is seen in the PS4's GPU, which received more than double the compute units count from 18 to 36, and that too at a higher clock speed. Overall, the increment is pretty amazing on the GPU front with appreciable improvements in memory bandwidth, but the CPU is still largely underpowered despite the bump. From a design perspective, the Pro looks and feels like a double-storied PlayStation 4. Just like the new PS4 SKU, aka the PS4 Slim, both the eject and power buttons are now physical buttons. Unlike the base PlayStation 4, which has 2 USB 3.0 ports, Sony have provided 3 ports, 2 in the front and 1 in the rear. The one in the rear is especially relevant if you also own a PlayStation VR headset. Instead of using the front port, you can simply connect the PSVR's processing unit to the rear port and free them up for other tasks, such as charging your controllers or transferring files through and from a media stick. Furthermore, gone is the glossy finish of the original PS4, and instead we have a matte finish for the main body. Overall, barring a few subtle changes, PS4 Pro's design is largely the same as the base PS4. However, as Sony have stated many times before, the PS4 Pro is a PS4 after all. The user interface is largely the same with a few additions, such as options for transferring your game content from your old PS4 to the Pro, and resolution support for 2160p or 4K. The former is extremely useful if you're already an existing PS4 user and have tons of content to transfer. The process of transferring data from your old console to the Pro is extremely simple. You just need to sign into your PSN account on both PS4s and procure a LAN wire to connect them both. We had around 750 GB of data to transfer, and it took about 5 hours to get it done. So coming back to what actually matters, the games. Is there a marked difference between running games on the base PS4 compared to the Pro? Well, it depends. To begin with, developers would need to patch already existing games with PS4 Pro support. This could mean a number of things. Either the developer could update the game with 4K support or add different graphical options so that players who are playing on 1080p TV sets are not left behind. Ultimately, it depends on the individual developer on how they want to use the PS4 Pro's power. As we've stated many times before, the PS4 Pro is not powerful enough to run AAA games that utilize high-end rendering techniques in native 4K resolution. A good case to consider here is Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, which runs at 2K resolution on the Pro with next to no improvements in performance or core assets. The Pro is simply not powerful enough to render the high level of fidelity found in Uncharted 4 in 4K due to memory bandwidth restrictions. However, developers can use custom techniques to improve the resolution up to 4K. For example, Watch Dogs 2 runs at a native 3200 by 1800p resolution on a 4K TV, and then uses checkerboard rendering to reach 4K resolution. It's certainly not native 4K, but it's not a mere upscale either. Some games, such as The Last of Us Remastered, which is built on last-gen tech, had no problems running at a native 4K on the Pro, whereas more recent games like Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare showcased impressive improvements in resolution whilst maintaining a solid frame rate of 60 FPS. For those of you who are planning to buy the PlayStation 4 Pro but still intend to use their 1080p TV sets, should expect mixed results at launch. PS4 exclusives like Uncharted 4 and The Last of Us pretty much run at the same frame rate and image quality when playing them on a 1080p TV. However, playing Ubisoft's Watch Dogs 2 on Pro drastically reduces pop-in issues and improves anti-aliasing on distant objects, resulting into a sharper and crisper image quality. Furthermore, we witnessed lower loading times on the PS4 Pro versions of Watch Dogs 2 and Skyrim. We also tested a number of PSVR games such as Robinson the Journey, despite the awful motion sickness it brings along with it, and we observed marked differences in image quality and aliasing. The base PS4 version of the game suffers from blurred image quality, but the Pro version drastically improves image quality. The PlayStation 4 Pro is a fantastic machine. For its asking price, it has a ton to offer. When we think about the Pro, we think of three groups of players. The first group of players that already have a PS4 and are planning to buy a Pro just to play it on their 1080p TV sets. In that case, you're better off with your old PS4. Yes, the Pro brings in some improvements for 1080p TV owners, but you won't even notice them unless you run the games side by side. Secondly, people that already have a PS4 and are planning to buy the Pro for their 4K TV. In this case, they might need to compromise on non-native 4K support for most AAA games. If you're okay with checkerboard rendering up to 4K, then go ahead and buy a Pro, but there's no way that custom rendering techniques will ever match up with native 4K. So if this is a concern for you, then we would suggest again that holding on to your old PS4 is the way to go. And lastly, the group of players who don't have a PS4 yet. For them, the PS4 Pro is a no-brainer. It's a machine that they need to buy this holiday season. So overall, the PS4 Pro is great value for first-time PlayStation 4 players and even for those who already have a 4K TV, provided they're okay with non-native 4K resolution support for their games. At the end of the day, it's quite remarkable how Sony are pushing the 4K gaming paradigm shift on a $399 gaming console, and how that approach is ultimately extremely important for the industry as a whole and for its progress towards the 4K era.
Like this video? Why not give us a like and subscribe? We try and upload amazing videos almost every single day. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.